Welcome to the Unforgettable Experiences live show. I'm Phil Mershon. I'm the host. Recently, I did an event and there were a couple hundred people that showed up. And I was talking to my friend June Hahn, and I was lamenting that only a couple hundred people showed up. And he said, Phil, and this was a live online event. He said, Phil, if you were in a physical room and there were 200 people in the room, wouldn't you be thrilled? And I had to admit it was true. I would love to have 200 people sit in a room and listen to me. Last night, I played a jazz concert with a few friends of mine, and there were maybe 25 people in the room, but they were totally captivated, totally enthralled. And I was glad to have 25 people in the room. It reminded me when I was in high school, I was trying to earn a free study Bible or something. We had a contest going. If you showed up every Sunday for Sunday school for 13 weeks for a quarter, you would get this free book, whatever it was. I don't remember now what it was, but I didn't want to miss. So there was one week where I showed up and I was the only person there. And I remember Marvin Martin was the instructor that day. And Marvin, I assumed he would take me out for donuts. It was like one person, hey, we're going to save the study for next week. But do you know what Marvin did, Ramon? I see you, man. Marvin took the time to give everything he prepared to me alone. He treasured me so much that he wanted to give me what I had. And that made a lifelong impression on me, that if there's only one person in the room who has shown up, give them everything you've got, because you don't know what the ripple effect of that is going to be. And just like June was telling me a couple of nights ago when we were talking about this event where there were only 200 people, he said, Phil, don't look at it as only. Serve those people. You don't know who's going to become a future client. You don't know who's going to go out and be the next Ramon Ray, who's going to go out and change the world, and it's going to be because of the influence you have. So don't despise those small beginnings, but instead take advantage of it and say, how do I serve the people who are here instead of worrying about the people that aren't here? You know, we heard these stories. I work with Social Media Examiner, and the first year we had 1,100 people. And for most people, that is mind boggling that there were those kind of numbers. If you're in the event business and you're doing a first time event, you're not going to have most likely have those kind of numbers, and unless you've got something going for you, like an enormous brand. So don't worry about how big it can be. Instead, worry about those who do show up. Now, last night, this jazz thing that I did, we only had 25 people there. And I'm going to say only in this case, because this venue has a number of shows coming up that are sold out, and they've had to add extra shows. Now, the difference between the show I created and those shows is those shows have some kind of name recognition. They're doing the music of Ella Fitzgerald. They've got some famous jazz musician coming from New York. So there's people who recognize it's either the music that's being played or the people playing the music have high name recognition. I don't have either one of those in the jazz world of San Diego, where I am right now. So I do have the recognition of the other people in the band, but those guys play everywhere all the time. It's not a big deal. Now, the people that did come were totally blown away. So I'm sitting here with this conundrum of, okay, how do you market something that people don't know what they're getting, right? How do you market something that they don't know what it is that you're actually doing? You could try to describe it all you want to, but at the end of the day, they have to experience it. Once people have experienced something, they can help you share the word. And so that's part of this, like, don't despise the small beginnings, because if you serve those people well who do come and they experience the magic that you have to offer, then they can go tell the world about what that is. And so that's something I'm learning this week. And thank you to those of you who said that. You needed to hear this last day of sales and they aren't where I had hoped they would be. Yeah, sometimes it's just like that, isn't it? They're not where we thought they would be. It causes you to have to pivot and say, okay, well, that's not where the money's coming from. But there are people who said yes. As long as somebody has said yes, serve them. Obviously, if it doesn't make sense and you're going to lose money, you've got to count it. But if you're going to make some money and you've got the capacity to serve those people, go serve their socks off, make their day, make their week, change their lives. They will help you for the next time that you do it. Yeah. So if you're barely breaking even, I mean, you've got to weigh your costs, right? You've got to look at what your alternatives are with the time. Does it make better sense to give them their money back? Sometimes it does. You have to know, you know, your event. I don't know your event. So this is like a principle that I'm speaking about. You do need to look at the circumstances that you're in. Would the time be better spent doing something else? But if you can do it, then my thought is don't skimp. Don't skimp. Give them what you planned on giving them to the fullest extent that you can. Maybe there are places that you can cut costs that aren't going to affect the experience, so that you don't lose, or that you can make a little bit more money. But give them good stuff because it will help you. That's my experience. I'm not here as your business strategist, so don't hold me accountable to that. This is my experience and what I'm learning from several recent experiences. So, um, yeah, that's great. That's great. So, absolutely glad to give advice and glad to chat some more. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening in. This is just a weekly Phil going live for a few minutes, going for as long as people have questions or thoughts they want to discuss. But I think this is one of those principles. Don't despise the small beginnings that can help all of us whenever we're starting something new. Whenever we're starting it new, we're probably not going to get those instant results that we think everybody's getting, that they're bragging about. They're not telling us about the small beginnings that they had where they wondered, is anybody going to walk in? I heard John Acuff speak sometime recently, and he talked about when he first started as a keynote speaker, and he was speaking at events, and he literally had a couple of people who came into the room to hear him and even walked out. Now he speaks to rooms packed with thousands of people. But in his beginning days, nobody knew who he was. He wasn't totally confident in what he was doing. And, but he had to have that beginning to have the mindset of, okay, I'm here to serve whoever decides to show up and I will give them my best. It's really tempting, when there's only a couple people that show up in a room to not give your best. So, any tips for the last day of sales push? Um, Event is next Saturday. So yeah, do you have allies? Do you have people that you can ask to help you? Because maybe you've exhausted the reach of your own audience. Do you have incentives for the last day? So I think the last day is a great opportunity. Maybe there's a flash sale. Maybe there's some special content that you're offering people who sign up just today. Maybe there's some incentive for your friends and allies and affiliates. If you've got affiliate sales going on, maybe there's something extra that you can do to motivate them. Saturdays are an interesting day for a push, and I don't know what kind of event you're doing, but Saturdays can be a challenge, or it could be the perfect day, depending on if your audience is watching where you're promoting the event. So my experience is business events, you're smarter to have your last day during the week, as opposed to on the weekend. But if it is a B2C kind of event, or the people tend to be online 7 days a week, and 24/7, then the day of the week probably doesn't matter. So women's event, Daydream Summit. Ooh, I like the name of that. I like the name of that. Wow. Can you do something to invite them to daydream today? What would that look like? Can you give some small little taste today of what the event's going to be next Saturday? I know it's last minute, but could you do what I'm doing right here? Could you go live? Would they notice? I don't know. Would they notice that you're going live? By the way, can you tell me who I'm talking to right now? Because StreamYard doesn't tell me who it is unless you give StreamYard permission to share your Facebook identity. It looks like you're on Facebook. So if you want to tell me who it is. Oh, hey, Stacy. Yeah. If you went live sometime today and invited people into a small daydream session, would they notice? Do you have that kind of audience where they would notice? If you do, try it. Um, or maybe let several people know, hey, this afternoon, in 4 hours, so they have some warning time that you're going to do this. Maybe something like, hey, if you're wondering if you should go to the Daydream Summit this afternoon at 2 o'clock, we're going to daydream together. And I want you to come and experience a small taste of what we're going to do next Saturday, and let them know and talk about it, and let some of your friends and affiliates know. Um, Maybe even people who've already signed up, and say, hey, I'm going to give a small taste and I want you to come, but I want you to invite a couple friends who you think would benefit from this. Try something like that. I think word of mouth is your best friend. You're down to the wire, obviously. If you'd have had a couple days, that might have helped. Does I guess one question: if it's next Saturday, why are you cutting off sales today? Could you not push? Could you not keep promoting all the way up until it? I guess, is it in person or is it an online event, Stacy? Um, cool. Oh, you're on your phone. That's why. Um, yeah, I mean, if it's a physical event, I get why you have to cut it off. If it's an online event, then why are you closing sales today? So I guess that would be a question that I would have of you. Oh, okay, in person due to food. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. That said, most caterers have a way for you to add last minute at an extra charge, or depending on where you're doing it, you can order pizza. So you can charge more for people who sign up next week. So let's say your cost is, $500 if they sign up by today. You can make it $600 up until Thursday, and that extra $100 allows you to go and find another source of food, or pay the caterer. Or most caterers, in my experience, can make adjustments up to about 72 hours out, depending on how many people you're serving. But you know what they've told you. But I would charge more if you take any sales after today. That way you can account for any up charges that the caterer might have, or anything creative that you have to do. And I don't know how many people. So um, pigeonholed into a venue that's strict. I didn't know what I didn't know. Yeah, I get you. I get you. Well, yeah, live and learn, right? Live and learn. Um, but maybe there's a way for people who want to experience the event knowing that food can't be included because they signed up last minute. Um, I don't know. You know the event, you know what you're trying to create. Maybe you don't want to add that extra stress and just go with it. So um, yeah. Well, I am really glad that you were here, Stacy, and for everyone who watches this in the future and watches all the way to this point, thank you for doing that. I want to help you as well as help myself create unforgettable experiences for people every time we put on an event. So if I can be of help, reach out. And I want to invite you to go have a blessed and amazing day. Thank you for being here.